Okay, let's dive right into this. You know that feeling, that immense, frankly infuriating frustration of doing literally everything right. You're hitting the gym consistently, you're tracking your macros, but then you look in the mirror and that stubborn gut just won't budge. It's incredibly demoralizing, right? When your effort just doesn't match the reflection staring back at you. Well, I'm going to drop a bit of a bombshell on you based on our research today. Ready? You might not actually be as fat as you think you are. Seriously, for the vast majority of us living a modern urban life, we don't necessarily have a weight problem at all. What we actually have is what experts are calling a 9-to-5 skeleton, or a desk job pelvis. It's a mechanical, structural issue that physically pushes your stomach forward, basically manufacturing the appearance of a gut entirely out of thin air. So let's look at section 1, the stubborn gut illusion, because chances are you aren't as fat as you think. Now, what's really interesting about this is the actual biology behind it. This urban lifestyle we all lead creates a very convincing yet entirely physical illusion that completely masks the hard work you put in at the gym. We're talking about pelvic tilt. Notice how tight hip flexors pull heavily on your lower spine and literally tip your entire pelvis forward. It's kind of like a seesaw tilting the wrong way. When this happens, it dramatically arches your back and forces your internal organs and, your stomach outward. So think about what this means. You could have a remarkably low body fat percentage and yet still look like you have a pooch, simply because your skeletal frame is completely out of alignment. Moving on to section 2, your 9-to-5 skeleton and the anatomy of an average Tuesday. It's totally valid to be frustrated by this, but honestly, we need to stop blaming our diets and look at the real villain here, our highly sedentary workdays. Let's walk through this timeline. Think about the physical anatomy of your average Tuesday. You've got, 8 full hours hunched over a laptop at your desk, then another hour commuting, sitting statically on a train or cramped up in a car, and then finally, you're home, and you spend 3 hours sitting on the couch to decompress. This specific sequential daily routine is an absolute biological disaster. Because your hips are bent at a 90-degree angle almost all day long, those hip flexors become incredibly tight, short, and overactive. They're effectively locking your body into that tilted position. So how exactly do we fix it? Well, human instinct says, I want a flat stomach, I should do 1,000 sit-ups. But actually, scratch that. Sit-ups are often the absolute worst thing you can do here. Doing more crunches actually further engages those already tight hip flexors, pulling you even deeper into the tilt and throwing the wrong kind of stress onto your lower back. We don't need to crunch. We need to swap out those traditional exercises like sit-ups and standard planks for kinetic corrections like Romanian deadlifts and Pallof presses. Which brings us to section 3, realigning your pelvis, the heavy machinery of the human body. So the crucial point here is that we must focus on the hip hinge to correct this whole desk job imbalance. And the absolute king of the hip hinge is the Romanian deadlift, or RDL. It is truly the heavy machinery of human movement. It intensely targets the hamstrings, those massive muscles of the glutes, and the spinal erectors running right up your back. By building tremendous strength in these specific posterior chain muscles, you're giving your body the leverage to physically drag your skeleton back into proper alignment. You're basically fighting the desk job posture by reversing that forward pelvic tilt, which naturally pulls your stomach inward exactly where it belongs. Let's move to section 4 and see how this builds the V-taper, curing rectangle torso syndrome. Because, even if you manage to flatten the stomach, a lot of us urbanites suffer from what the source material brilliantly calls rectangle torso syndrome. That's a situation where your shoulders are exactly the same width as your waist. When your proportions form a straight line up and down like that, even a tiny bit of belly fat looks massive. To cure this, we use a really cool 2-part visual illusion formula. Step 1, build the shelf. You do this with upper pectoral movements, think incline presses or deficit push-ups. This creates a literal shelf of muscle right below your collarbones, so when you put a t-shirt on, the fabric drapes straight down like a curtain, completely hiding the midsection. Step 2, build the wings. By doing vertical pulls like pull-ups or backpack rows, you widen your lat muscles. When your back grows wider up top, your waist mathematically and visually looks dramatically smaller by comparison. It's like a magic trick, but it's just incredible structural camouflage. Next up is section 5, desk job posture, waking up asleep muscles. Because we've really got to address the secondary side effects of sitting all day, those severely slouching shoulders and that stubborn forward protruding head. In short, stop looking like a wet blanket draped over a wire hanger. To fix this, you have to wake up the muscles in your upper back that have literally been asleep for years. The secret weapon here is something called the reverse snow angel. You just lie face down on the floor and sweep your arms from your head all the way down to your hips. Now, it might sound like a completely boring movement, but it is the absolutely essential posture finisher. It specifically trains those tiny, neglected muscles that hold your shoulder blades tightly together, forcing your chest open and pulling your posture upright. That leads right into section 6, deep core stability, building a wall, not passing an endurance test. We really need to shift gears in how we think about core training. We've got to stop treating it like some arbitrary endurance test where we just hold standard planks, staring at a timer until our hips inevitably sag and our lower backs scream at us. Enter the Pallof press. This is an anti-rotation movement where you build immense deep core stability by actively resisting a cable or a resistance band that is forcefully trying to twist your torso. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what true core strength is. Instead of flexing your spine, you are actively fighting to keep your body perfectly straight and rigid against an outside force. This anti-rotation focus builds a literal wall of muscle, keeping your midsection incredibly tight and locked in place. Finally, section 7, the frame building challenge. It's time to swap the treadmill for armor. Let's use that 9-to-5 desk job as a biological signal to move properly, not a life sentence to remain sedentary. So here is my direct challenge to you for the next week. Swap your traditional sit-ups for Romanian deadlifts. Swap your sagging planks for strict Pallof presses. And please, stop endlessly running on the treadmill, eating rabbit food, and wondering why you still look soft. I really want you to burn this quote into your brain. Stop trying to starve the gut away and start building the frame that hides it. It is absolutely time to step off the treadmill and stop the endless fitness circus of crunches that aren't getting you anywhere. Start building some actual physical armor. Think about it. If your 9-to-5 is breaking your body, what are you going to do from 5 to 9 to build it back? Drop a fix the frame in the comments if you're with me.